The fact that you could be the very same person, but depending on your mindset, depending on your energy, depending on your stress levels, your brain is going to meet this willpower challenge in a different way.
성공을 위한 채널. 켈리 맥고니걸은 스탠퍼드 대학의 심리학 교수이자 심리과학과 의학 분야의 연구 결과를 응용하여 건강과 행복, 성공에 도움이 되는 방법을 만든 사람이죠. 그녀가 할 일을 미루는 사람들에게 어떻게 해야 행동으로 옮길 수 있는지, 행동으로 옮길 수 있는 뇌의 연료를 채우는 방법을 이번 영상에서 알려줍니다.
I want to just start with a little definition, my definition of willpower or willpower challenge. And I define a willpower challenge as something that is basically a competition between two parts of yourself. Neuroscientists are famous for saying that even though we have one brain, we actually have two minds. And we are completely different people depending on which mind is active or which systems of the brain are more active. And so a willpower challenge is anything where those two versions of yourself have competing goals. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. The fact that you could be the very same person, but depending on your mindset, depending on your energy, depending on your stress levels, your brain is going to meet this willpower challenge in a different way. So I want us to think together a little bit about why those two small interventions, an hour more sleep or 10 minutes of meditation a day, might actually give us more willpower for any willpower challenge. What you're looking at here is an image from an fMRI study of what happens to the brain when you're a little bit sleep deprived. And most studies use less than 6 hours of sleep a night as sleep deprived. When you have less than 6 hours of sleep a night, where this area of the brain is unable to do its job as efficiently, and sleep deprivation is one of the main things that can get in the way of that. And I think that's one of the reasons why this small sleep intervention ended up helping people resist relapse to drug addiction, because they now had brains that were better fueled to remember their goals to stay clean and sober. And it's not just sleep that impacts the physiology of your brain, how well your brain uses energy. There are a couple of other things that seem to really strengthen the ability of the brain's frontal regions to do what they're supposed to do, to help you control impulses and find your motivation. One is sleep, as I mentioned, and meditation also. People who meditate maybe 10 minutes a day, after a couple of months, their brains look different. These regions are bigger and better connected. People who work out on a regular basis who used to be sedentary, again, studies show that in as little as a couple of months of regular workouts, their prefrontal cortices are bigger and denser and better connected. And so these are two of the things you can do that actually train the physiology of your willpower. And the last thing that the research suggests is what you eat has a very big influence on whether or not your brain is able to be this better version of yourself. There's something about having big spikes in blood sugar levels and then big drops in blood sugar levels that really screws up how the brain uses energy. And you need your brain to be like an energy efficient machine. So research shows that shifting to eating a more plant-based diet actually changes the way the brain functions and has a lot to do with what's going on with your blood sugar levels. And so these are all things that we sometimes think of as requiring willpower, right? We think, okay, I have to sit down and force myself to meditate. I have to work out. I have to say no to the donut and eat something, that has fiber in it for breakfast. But we rarely think about the fact that actually not doing these things may be part of what makes it so difficult to begin. And there's a kind of a curve where when we first start, it feels like we're using willpower. But everything on this list that takes a little bit of willpower to begin with ends up giving you back far more willpower than they take. And not just for these challenges. It's not just that exercising makes it easier to exercise. Studies show that exercising makes it easier to eat right, to not spend too much money, to stop procrastinating, to pay better attention. All of these things have a kind of global training effect on what you could think of as your willpower muscle.
무언가를 하기 위해 결심을 했지만 실천을 못 하시나요? 그건 뇌의 연료가 부족해서 생기는 현상입니다. 충분한 수면을 취하고 하루에 10분 정도 명상을 하고 규칙적으로 운동을 해보세요. 그러면 몸의 변화가 느껴지고 정신이 맑아질 겁니다. 뇌의 연료를 주입해서 힘찬 도약을 하세요. 재미있게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드려요.